Okay, hello everyone and welcome to another randomised gaming episode. I will be your host as always for this randomised gaming live stream, Random Gamer Ribbon. And in today's video we are going to be looking at, as the title screen says here, Raiden IV Overkill in the live stream. So I'll be doing some commentary and a bit of a chat on this rather good shooter, part of the Raiden series. It's actually rather quiet at the minute. There's no background music on the title screen, so let's jump into game. And there we go with some music related to the game. So this is Raiden IV Overkill. This is actually a slightly enhanced version of Raiden IV. The original version was released on Xbox 360, and then they did an updated version on the PS3 called Overkill a number of years later. I'm still slightly begrudging the fact, I think it's Moss who do most of the modern Raiden games, the fact that Raiden Fighter Aces never came out in Europe on the Xbox 360. Didn't get a port to the PlayStation 3 either, so that's still a rather slightly sore. That was one of those games that it was constantly rumoured it was coming out and then never did. And yeah, I'm one of those people that literally still slightly sore. That was like one of the few 360 games I badly wanted to play that never came out in Europe. And literally the only way I can play it is if I get a Japanese or North American system. And there's so few games actually worth importing on the Xbox 360. There really isn't many. There's about, because the 360 was region locked on some games but not all of them, so there are some games you can import that have no region lock, some games you can play that do have region lock. But this is Raiden IV Overkill. So the Raiden series was originally done by, let's see if I can pronounce this correctly, Seibu Kaihatsu. And they did the original two Raiden games and DX Director's Cut, but they hit hard financial terms in 1998. And I believe Moss, who did this installment, is largely most of the staff from Seibu Kaihatsu. After they basically, I think Seibu might still be around in some weird license form, but basically Moss was formed from some of the staff, so effectively it's the same staff still working on the franchise. And the Raiden series has been going on. There was Raiden V on the PlayStation 4 that's well worth picking up. In fact, it's one of those series where every outing's pretty solid. Pretty solid. I can't really fault any of them. Hopefully there'll be a Raiden 6 at some point. Raiden IV Overkill. This was actually a much better version on the than the original versions. You get a number of additional modes. So you get the Overkill mode, you get the additional mode, you get store attack mode, you get arcade mode, and that question mark is the boss ranking mode. So this update was quite a few years after. I think the original release is like 2007 or 2008, and this updated Overkill release was 2014. It was developed by Moss. It was published by Moss in Japan, and it was published in North America and Europe by UFO Interactive. And that's all I need to say on the actual game front. Thank you for someone who's ever already hit the like button. That's very much appreciated. So this one does actually have a gallery. You have a replay archive. Actually, quite a bit of footage. You get replay gallery. I think there's something in between. You can actually view the 3D models, although I literally have nothing right yet. So it does have that sort of classic 90s arcade music. So yeah, I can literally turn around, change colour, and transform. So we have a selection of modes that I will go through. So you have Overkill mode, new play mode of 2 missions, and a new scoring system. We have additional mode, which is a version of arcade mode with the 2 new stages. We have store attack mode, and we have arcade mode. Original arcade with 2 different difficulties. Just see what the options are available. And we get different characters as well. We get a fairy from some game. I think that's the original Raiden ship, and that's the ship from Raiden 3. I think this one actually has a low, so you get quite a few of the, so you get the original. Quite a few of these games actually have like various sound tests and stuff, or hidden unlocks and display. I think the display is going to be good. Yep, I don't need to adjust it. So which mode should I do first? Should I do the arcade mode, score attack mode, additional mode, or overkill mode? If you have any suggestions, make a comment. Else, otherwise I will pick myself. And I think I'll jump into the original arcade mode, just to give you a taste of the original action. So you've got solo. That's right, you can have dual style and double play as 1 and 2 play at the same time. Dual play. I'll do solo play first off. You've got easy, very easy practice. Normal, original, hard, very hard, ultimate. Let's stick with original. And here we go. Let's get some shooting action in. Should actually do a long play of some of the Raiden games. I will do it some, but I'm not going to be playing through it tonight. So nuclear missiles, homing missiles, radar missiles, Vulcan laser or plasma laser, proton laser, prayer controlled curving beam. Now I normally prefer Vulcan in this, I have to admit. So X is shoot, circle is bomb, left stick is move player. Not much in the... Nice to have a game where not many controls. Literally we have 2 buttons. Let's go for original. And before I do anything more... I actually prefer the Mo version, the Mo's down, because the lock version can often get you in a bit of stuck at points where it will lock onto the wrong enemies. And let's listen to that soundtrack. And before I do anything, I'm actually going to see if I can adjust the screen display, because it's not full screen. So change the wallpaper. We can't actually change the wallpaper. Go with the slightly coloured one that isn't actually display. Okay, this is technically the best one for me, but that's probably the best one for you. And yeah, I'll stick with the one for you guys on the stream, so let's go with that one. So, yeah, I want to do that. Let's see, we've got 180. Actually spin it whichever way direction. So this does have tape mode as well. That's really nice. Now I'm an old school arcade player. I can't remember if I've actually finished this. I think I have on the first pass. I definitely haven't done the second one. Raiden 3 was on... So the original 2 Raiden games were arcade games. Raiden 3 was on the PlayStation 2. I think it's actually not that cheap to buy anymore. I picked it up for like 10 quid or something when it was ridiculously cheap. Back when you could buy PlayStation 2 games second hand, because no one else wanted to play them. Eek, I didn't want that. And I should say I am a veteran of shooter games. I'm not someone who can 1cc cave games, because I'm not a big fan of cave games. But I'm a decent shooter vet, so you won't get me dying from every hit, but at the same time I won't be doing flawless perfect runs. I'm sort of a in-between player. Well, I'm sort of an arcade vet, but I don't like the type of shooters where you have to spend months practicing them just to know every single movement pattern to avoid death. That's just bad games design. Ooh, that was close. I wasn't paying attention to where I was dodging. Hi Arica, thanks for joining the stream. We actually got a couple of you on the stream tonight. I'm quite impressed. Thanks to everyone on the stream tonight. Appreciate the likes, everyone. I will be just playing through looking at the various modes in this. So I'm just going to do arcade mode first off. See how far I can get. I might do one credit run, see how far I can get, and then jump to the different modes to see how they differ. Oh, seeing as I've got heavy loaded up blue. Yeah, I've always enjoyed the Raiden games. I wouldn't say I'm the biggest fan of them, but I've always enjoyed them. And I always remember them in the 90s. You would always scroll into an arcade, and Raiden 2 was one of those arcade games that was really very impressive whenever you saw it. Even the original Raiden, they were both sort of the better. Yeah, I'm a pretty decent player. I'm not perfect, as you'll see me will die occasionally. I won't be able to chat as much as I normally do, because shooters require my these type of shooters. Although this isn't a bullet hell shooter, it does require my utmost concentration. Else, otherwise, I will be dying left, right, and centre. But yeah, this is actually a very good shooter, Raiden IV. I think I prefer this to Raiden 3, actually. Although this is definitely a game you want a nice smooth stick with, rather than just playing this on the PS3's notepad. I can feel it wearing out my hand on the D-pad. I can feel it wearing out my hand already. I'm like, oh, I'm going to use a bomb there. Now this boss was quite tricky. I remember this boss used to get me quite often, so let's see. Yeah, when you've played as many bullet hell shooters, this is quite a step down. But this is the kind of difficulty I like. It's not overtly easy, but it's not ridiculously hard, so that I'm definitely feeling the heat. Whenever I'm using the bomb, it means I'm feeling pressured, basically. I try to avoid using bombs and... Okay, that was a good run against that one. Oh, hi again, Charlie. Yeah, Raiden 5 I was quite enjoying as well, but Raiden 5 you have that slightly annoying story, although you do have multiple ending and routes. Hi Charlie, hi Erica. Apologies, I won't be chatting as much as I do on normal stream, on some of my other streams, because I'm going to have to concentrate, else this will just be a spectacular... I don't want to be dying left, right and centre, but I'll see how far I can get. I'll just see how far I can do on a one credit one this first Right, now jump into the different because this is quite a nice package, the Overkill mode. I believe it is still available to buy on PSN. I hope it is. I think it is. I'm not 100% sure. This is actually my first run at this since I played it in a while, so... The Raidens, once you get down to them, are pretty good for being able to one credit clear because they're quite reasonable. Unlike bullet hell shooters, like the cave ones, they don't... Ooh. Oh, I'll continue. Give it a second life before I pack it in. I'll only do a 2 credit one. Okay, that's actually quite tricky. Although the classic way I always find to get better is to actually do the 1 credit run where you do 1 credit and then... Oh, that's now... This is definitely... This is how quick... This does get tougher very quickly, I will admit. Oh, I didn't want this weapon. I don't like this weapon in the slightest. Yeah, the difficulty at this stage is already pacing up, so I'll chat to you guys when I finish this run. How far I've got on this 2nd credit. Actually, saying this version of the purple laser beam's not too bad, actually. I do actually have Raiden on the PS1. The double pack. I keep meaning to actually spend some time with it. This is the water boss. But as I mentioned at the start, Raiden Fighters is probably one of my most annoying because the fact Raiden Fighters did not get a European release. They kept saying it was and it never did. Ooh. Oh, that was more luck. Use some boss bombs there. Okay, now it's combining. This is where things get nasty. It's actually combining the 3 shots And I can't properly see the enemy fire either, so staying. The patterns are actually very good because unlike some of the other shooters, they're preset, so. Oh wow, this has got another form. Okay, that's where things get. Right, let's take a quick break there. I will let the timer run out and then jump into what you guys chatting about. Shigari no Shira, yeah, that's a solid shooter. Actually, that's probably not as bullety hell some of the K games. Musha Mai is pretty solid. Yeah, Mega Drive, Saturn, yeah, Artorica, you're spot on there. And Dreamcast also has a lot of good shooters as well. Dreamcast probably has the best horizontal shooter of all time in the form of Baldur's Down. Baldur's Down is an absolutely phenomenal game. Yeah, the PS4's got the PS4 and Switch. The problem with currently is M2 are not releasing any of their Shock Trigger collection in Europe, so we have to import them all, which really irritates me. Hi Console Shock Official, it's been a while there. Hope you guys are doing well at Console Shock. I know it's been a tough year for everyone, I should say, as well, so I've been... Oh, I did... Credits increased. Yay! 32 new ships were added to the gallery. Nice. Save this playlist. No. Not saving the record. No. Save the play result, yes. Okay. For a second there, I forward to the replay. Yeah, as I mentioned at the start of the stream, Console Shock, the 360 version of so this is the PS3 version, which is digital only and has more extras over the 360 version, but it was really annoying the fact that in North America and Japan on the Xbox 360 they got Raiden Fighters Ace, which was the collection of all the Raiden Fighters games, and that was so annoying. They kept saying that was coming to Europe and it never did. Okay, so just a quick look at the gallery. Some of the stuff I've unlocked. Yeah, and fortunately Raiden 4, although we didn't get a physical release of it on 360, now that we got this enhanced version on PS3, I don't mind too much. I believe, as I said, this is still available. I'm not 100% certain it is actually still available, but hopefully it is. Appreciate the likes, guys. I've got a few more people on stream tonight than I was expecting, actually. Just going to have a quick look at the various ships, and you can change colour of this thing as well. Well, there's 3 variants of it. There's actually quite a nice view of this. I assume the bosses are here as well. There's a remake of Cotton. Coming, yeah, I know there's a Cotton reboot. I've already seen it. There's Death Smiles 1 and 2 are actually coming in December as well to all platforms. So it'll be interesting to know. It's not just on Switch. I think some developers are slightly moving away from Switch at the minute, because I noticed they said PS4's now sold the most video games of all time on any platform. Yeah, some are Switch only, and there are a few weird things. Anametia, excellent. Yeah, I think that's on PS4. I think we might have that one. There is quite a few. You can get Gina Force recently got released on PS4, so there's a great selection on PS4 and PS on Switch. Some are on PS4 and not on Switch, and some are on Switch and not on PS4. I don't believe there's anything exclusive to the Xbox One, so... Ah, cool, you do get the bosses. And you can transform them as well. Yeah, a lot of the ports are better on the Saturn and the Dreamcast because they still had the original source code. A lot of the modern ports tend to be emulation. So like the Saturn's version of Gunbird had additional content. The Saturn's version of Sonkyo Blade had additional content. The Dreamcast version of Gunbird 2 had additional content. Or was it just Gunbird 2 and Sonkyo Blade? I can't remember the original Gun. Sonkyo Blade definitely had additional content. And Dreamcast version of Gunbird 2 has additional content because you can play as Morrigan, who was removed from... Yeah, there's quite a lot of good shooter collections. Konami released a lot of their collections on the PSP. I was quite surprised. I just saw them say about Death Smiles on Twitter the other week, because I hadn't seen much else. So, but yeah, there are some really good. There are some just really good shooters across the board, all the classic ones. So what should I do now? We've had a quick look at the original arcade mode, score attack mode, additional mode, or overkill mode. I can't unlock boss mode just yet. Yeah, that's what I meant by the additional content. She is an unlockable character, Marion. I've actually unlocked her. I should actually probably do a playthrough as her at some point. One of the reasons Gunbird 2 had the additional content is because Capcom published it, but didn't for the later versions. Yeah, exactly, Toriko. The Switch's sales, I think, are slightly flagging a bit as well. The fact they've released some of their games exclusively on some versions is really irritating. I don't like that because if you really need to find out which... Because the gamers on Switch might not necessarily be your core audience. I mean, we don't actually have... None of us here in the office actually have a Switch because... we're not particularly impressed with the hardware, and we're kind of waiting for the new Switch revision to hopefully address things like the Joy-Con drift and stuff. I don't like the hardware that much. Slightly we did get a Wii U, so that was really... I was just disappointed with the way Nintendo handled the Wii U. Admittedly, they made a big mistake at the start, calling it the Wii U and not something like the Wii 2, or just completely moving away from the Wii branding, which has become... So, is there any particular mode you guys want to see? Overkill mode, additional mode, or score attack mode? If not, I will jump into overkill mode to begin with. I'll try the dual play as well. I think that allows... Or should we go for double? The classic. Yeah, I'd like a port of Star Wars Arcade, but Star Wars Trilogy Arcade actually, and Star Wars Arcade would be nice, but I think it's going to be a long way away. I think for now I'll try with normal this time around. I'll try double, see what this is like. Yeah, Virtua Fighters Collection. There's a lot of good Sega games. I'm really annoyed with Sega at the minute by the fact they haven't reissued the... there's a Virtualon collection of... And we've actually tweeted about this on the blog and stuff, and I'm quite annoyed with the... Yeah, there's a couple... No console shock. I haven't actually played... I've seen the Mega Drive and the SNES versions. They were never... They're solid ports, but I much prefer the PlayStation one port because that was a double pack and sort of had more additional content. But yeah, I'd quite like to get this. There was 2 versions of Raiden on SNES because one version was so bad they tried again. Neither were quite perfect, but it was a nice sort of mix. But yeah, I was actually looking at Raiden Triads today. It's funny you should mention that, Console Shock. I really would like to grab a few of them at some point, but I've got a few. There's a few Mega Drive games I'd like to get, but the price at the minute is all getting quite a bit higher. And at the minute, Sega are definitely dropping the ball because we've not had the Alessi collection released over here yet. I don't think that will be. The Virtual-On Masterpiece collection is now, I think, 2 or 3 years old. And that was a collection of all 3 Virtual-On games. That has not been released by Sega either. Yeah, you mentioned Virtual Racing and G-Lock, Air Battle. Again, Akariko. That's another faux pas with Sega not releasing them on anything other than Switch. I think Virtual Racing, they should definitely look at... Oh... I just realised this is control them with the 2 analog sticks. This is going to be fun. Okay, I'm literally going to move my ships in tandem because else they're going to get too far apart. This is, and that's... Yeah, this is a bonkers mode. Literally, I'm controlling both sticks, one with one analog stick, one with the other, so forgive me if I die horrendously, because this is really difficult. Okay, so that's that side. This is the Overkill mode with the additional content. Yeah, Sega have been really bad about porting their games. There's a lot of games they're doing that are not coming out of Japan. And, okay, I won't try the dual play mode. Let's try a single. It's disappointing. I think Sega are becoming very... basically, I think you have issues with Sega of Europe and Sega of America not understanding their heritage now, and they need to get their act in gear, otherwise they're going to become obsolete. Yeah, so doubles not for me. Now, does dual play, is it just 2-player, or is the... Yep, that requires a 2nd player. I think it's more a case of Sega just not releasing stuff at all. I mean, yeah, you could say it's lazy. I think there are some infighting going on, all sorts of problems. The Europe seems to be concentrating on the football stuff and Total War and some other and their Creative Assembly stuff, but their Creative Assembly stuff has always been a bit... Creative Assembly need to really concentrate on getting their bugs sorted because a lot of their games just feel very unfinished. But yeah, it's Sega are really... So many of their Japanese games aren't getting released. There's There's no word on the Alessi collection, and I don't think that is going to get released over here. Yeah, I totally agree, Console Shock. I would love to see a 90s, sort of late 90s, a Model 3 collection, or even like a full-on Model 2 collection. They dabbled a bit in Model 2 with the Wii, some of the released on Wii, but yeah, Model 3 arcade collection, I think you guys would all agree would be fantastic. Scud Race, Daytona. Admittedly, they may have to pull some of the licenses, but so maybe just do like they did for Daytona, where it was Sega Arcade Classic, Sega Rally 2. I mean, Sega really needs to start producing that magic they used to have, because else they are going to be left behind by a lot of the companies coming forward. So this is the Overkill mode, which has a different scoring system, as you can see. See, do we prefer it? You get additional power-ups as well. Now, I'm not sure where the new levels have been added, so I don't know when they appear. Obviously, this is stage 1. This isn't... The Raiden games aren't like the Psycho games, which had sort of random starting stages, so you could do the stages in any order, which was always a nice touch. Bless me. I was just going to... I must admit, I haven't actually played anything on the PC Engine. Yeah, there's a lot of PS3 and Xbox 360 games that just aren't available in the store. We have been buying a lot of them. I'll leave you guys to chat amongst yourselves while I see how far I can do without... Okay, that was pretty quick. Thank you, Charlie. I see. Basically, with Overkill mode, you can keep shooting some of the enemies when they go down for those max score bonuses. That's actually a nice little subtle touch. So basically, it keeps you shooting an enemy even after they're gone. Slightly turn down the difficulty. They're definitely going a bit easier in this mode. Yeah, I can see this scoring system's actually, I definitely think it's slightly more interesting than Raiden, the default version of Raiden 4. Yeah, this is a really good shooter. It's not brutally hard like the cave game, so you don't have to spend ages learning every single thing to beat them without dying. I did some of that with Atai Katana. I just gave up because it was just taking so long to master. You basically had to learn down every single pattern, and I just thought, nah, just don't want to waste my time. You have to spend so much time learning the patterns in the cave games to get those 1 credit clears. Because they lack what I call the complete defense. There are a couple of cave games where they added in the complete defense, and they work brilliantly. Glad to see you guys chatting amongst yourselves. I will actually leave you guys to chat amongst yourself while I'm fighting these bosses, because They do require my utmost attention. Okay, normal, this normal mode, they definitely go down a lot quicker, I will admit. I'm quite surprised how much quicker these guys go down. And, oh. Yeah, Raiden's definitely going up in price. I think you can still get it cheap in Japan though, so I got a cheap Japanese copy a little while back. It's not really a game you're too fussed if you want the PAL or North American or Japanese releases. It's sort of the same. Because sometimes you get those weird quirks, or the PAL version's stupidly expensive compared to, say, the Japanese version. And other ways it goes the other way around. The problem you've got at the minute is that a lot of people have worked out that... although not so much, it's probably going to find it not working so more, but for a lot of Europeans worked out they could sell games on British eBay, as I actually saw a video, for a lot more money than they could anywhere else. Oh. I must admit, this is the right type of difficulty I like. It's not ruthlessly hard, but it's not cakewalk easy either. It says as he gets blown up. I'm like, yeah, I was. Okay, there's a level 5, so you keep shooting for that bonus score. Oh, that's the purple one, isn't it? Yeah. Really enjoying the music. The music is really great as well. But it's been a while since I sat down with Raiden IV, so it's one of those games like, yeah, I should be playing this more. It's a really good game. And it's another of those games that I will recommend you definitely grab a copy on the PSN store before they shut it down. I know it's been given a reprieve now, but we don't know for how much longer. I'm not actually sure this is still on the store. I think it is. Great to see you guys chatting amongst yourself as well. Apologies I can't chat as much as I normal, but I do. This is when it comes to shmups, you do need to concentrate, as I'm sure you guys are all aware. Ooh, that was close. Oh. I died before I even got to the boss, so I want to beat this boss, even if it costs me multiple credits, and then I'll jump to another mode. I really want to do that, just get close and cause havoc, but I can't, else that happens. Okay, this is disastrously bad attempt at this boss. I have a suspicion the boss rush mode doesn't unlock until... Oh. No, I want to beat this guy. I want to beat this guy regardless of this... It's falling a bit apart, but I just want to beat this guy. Yeah, this one does not want to give up without a fight, does he? Oh, I'll be lazy and fire another bomb. Yeah, we've been Charlie, if you haven't taken a look over the stream, we've been covering a huge array of PSN games. So I've actually been covering, already covered House of the Dead 4 and 3. I've covered the Mad Dog McCree game, so you can get Mad Dog 1, Mad Dog 2, Fast Draw Showdown. There's Wicked Monster Blast, which we covered the other day. That was another interesting one. There's some really good light gun games. You can get the Time Crisis Rising pack, but that was a retail release, so PS3's excellent. Yeah, I have got Ridge Racer 7. You guys are chatting away amongst yourself. That's cool. Yeah, there are some. So we covered quite a few of the PSN games. There's some really great games, like we covered Crash Commando the other week, which is another exclusive one. I was looking at Worms Battle Island, which is really solid, although that did get a retail release on Wii, but not PSP. So there's a huge selection. I've actually been just going through. I mean, you have games like, there is Elevator Action Deluxe, which is an interesting one. There's Blob, a Mutant Attacks. You've got Pixel Junk, odd stuff like When Vikings Attack, High Velocity Bowling, and there's a few other ones as I've been looking at. We looked at House of the Dead, we looked at Fast Draw Showdown, we've looked at, I mean, quite a few. There's stuff like Doki Doki Adventure, although that's on PS4. There was Echochrome's Rain and Puppeteer, which are really interesting. So there is just a variety of really interesting games out on PSN that we're going to cover a few more. I will be doing a big mainline video on it. You'll be all pleased to hear. But at the minute, and I'm hopeful that should be out. Oh, Destroy. There is a... Yes, Console Shock official. We do still have our 360 with the indie games we grabbed. So basically, I'm going to be doing a PS3 version of those indie videos very soon. I've actually recorded it, but I might edit it a bit. So, oh, I'm stuck in the corner, and this is a bonus stage. Get those bombs out! Get those bombs out! But yeah, there will be some videos coming on PS3 exclusive, PSN exclusive games in the very near future. Should hopefully be this week. I've been dragging my heels trying to get it. I'll probably do a sort of pick of some of the best ones out there as well. So I'll probably cover all the best light gun games on the PS3. I'll probably actually do that because there's not a huge number of them. So yeah, I probably will do that. Yeah, Calling All Cars is another good one. There's a couple of others. I'll actually quickly at the end show you some of the games we've got and been looking at on PS3. I've shown it in a few other videos. I know I showed a Toriko, so I'll quickly run through. some of them. I've got a few demos, but I'll quickly run through at the end of the video, just show off some of the best PSN titles as we've been played through. We've got some really good ones. Let's see how far. I'll be cheeky and continuing. Just see how far I can get with the continuing. I know the arcade buffs will be going, oh, he's not 1cc'ing. But yeah, you have to play through the game to practice it, and I am well out of practice. That's actually what I hate when you see a lot of the videos of people doing flawless runs. Everyone thinks, oh, you can do that easily. No, most of those videos are save states. Or people, unless you're like got speed runners who have spent months practicing it, then you ain't going to be 1cc'ing games. But yeah, we will be doing some more, basically like the indie stuff in the very near future. Hopefully this week, actually. I need to sit down and have a look what I've done already and decide what I want to use it or not. Oh, this is a terrible run. Okay, I'm going to concentrate back on shooting for a little bit. So apologies, I'll be off mic for a few minutes. The UK run out continues. Oh, you saw our video covering the indie stuff? Yeah, I know. We did it with the Wii store, and then we did it with the 360 store, and there are some really great games. There's still stuff supposedly going down on the PSP store, but it's not quite clear at the minute what's going down. Hi Charlie, very much appreciated for the donation. I was actually going to reply to you in a bit earlier because I said I was just off mic. Very much appreciated for the donation. I don't believe I paid Powers Volley, so there were so many indie games. There were a lot of them we didn't get a chance to sample during the shutdown because like most people, the shutdown was a bit out of the blue, and then a lot of people. I mean, there was like. Somebody said there was like FMV Ventures and all stuff, and you literally downloaded about a third of the indie games on the service, so it was just crazy. But there were some really good games. I got one of the Japanese volleyball ones that was really good, and I can't remember it. There was one that was like it might not be volleyball. There was one like dodgeball. So. How long do I think Disney will keep... if I recall. Yeah, no, Nintendo announced about 8 months in advance, so they gave you a fair warning. But the problem was you only had like 3 months to buy stuff before they severed the store. Sony literally were giving people 3 months before they killed everything. You're probably right. I reckon they'll kill the store in about a year or two. One of the reasons we think they slightly dialed back on it is, as some people pointed out, Sony are trying to sell the PlayStation 5 digital, and it looks really bad if you have a digital only console and you're trying to say, oh hang on, we're shutting down the older services, and one of the services, the PlayStation Vita, they were still releasing games on, so that was really bad. And I think Sony have damaged their reputation with developers and publishers as a result, because they literally, I mean, there's quite a few of them still I was amazed the amount of games still being released on Vita, actually. But yes, thank you very much for your kind donation, Charlie. So let's go look at what we've unlocked. I'll have a look at other replays and galleries, so do like the music in this. We've got 41 acquired, 0. Is that 101 ships? I'm guessing that 49 of. So the reason it says 49 of 01, I bet you that's 101, and I bet you they did that in the Japanese symbols. Oh no, 80. That's 81 ships. That's me not looking properly. 49 of 81 ships. Rocket League did. Technically, Rocket League is not the first game on in the series. The first one was it Aerodynamic Supersonic Battle Cars, which is only available on PlayStation 3 PSN Network. I actually bought it the other week for $1.99. I was debating to stream that today, but that has licensed music, so I'll probably just do a gameplay video of it in action. But yes, it's basically Battle Cars. Rocket League is known as Battle. It's basically Battle Cars too. So it's quite an interesting one. Actually, Battle Cars has a lot of additional content Rocket League doesn't have. Because Rocket League was pretty much only a sort of arcade game. Sort of a verse multiplayer, whereas Battle Cars actually has a single player, even though it's still a sort of verse single player. Power. Yep, that's the one. I will definitely try and cover that on the channel in the next week or two. Yeah, those Konami Rebirth games were fantastic as well. They really were some of the best games on the Wii Shop, and they haven't released them on anything else. There was mutterings a while back they were going to be released on something, and then nothing materialised. Yeah, it's a lot of these shutdowns are generally coming out of the blue. So appreciate the likes, everyone on stream, and great to see you guys chatting away as well. It's nice to see the viewers chat amongst themselves. But yeah, I think the PS3 and PS Vita store. The thing is, the PS Vita, most of the games are largely digital only, and actually getting hold of the console now is not that easy. It's literally sort of eBay only these days, which is quite... Let's jump into score attack mode. Yes, I mean, I don't know that much about Rocket League, and we played Rocket League, and someone's got it. I must admit, I didn't enjoy Rocket League that much, so I kind of not too interested in it. I quite liked Battle Cars, but I mean, you can see Rocket League is clearly an evolution of it. Yeah, it'll be a long time before the 360 stuff goes down. Although there is an issue we're going to be looking at very soon. Microsoft are scrubbing your digital library on the Xbox 360. You may find some of the games you own you can no longer download, and in the archive place is just the words, "This game is no longer available to download," which is rather concerning, and we're going to be covering that in the near future as well. But I'm going to be doing a PS3 store shutdown. I do actually need to buy a hard drive because we're literally running out of capture space at the minute, so I'm actually slightly low doing videos because we're running out of storage, so I need to get that issue addressed. Which is why there hasn't been as many videos as there should have been, because we're running low on storage at present. And we don't want to delete old footage, so... But hopefully we should have something in the near future. I'm just paused. I'll just go off mic while I play it, guys. I'll let you chat amongst yourselves. Great to see you guys all chatting amongst yourself as well. It's nice to see you guys all having a friendly conversation. Yeah, I'll just quickly respond to you guys. Yeah, one of the guys one of the teams been speaking to someone who's had Turtles Arcade just disappear from his inventory. If you have an Xbox 360, if you go to your download list and you just scroll down, you may see you actually have a number of items that now say you can no longer download, no longer available, and this is becoming a major issue. I noticed it a while back and I just assumed it was Avatar games, but now some people start coming forward saying, actually, this game I've purchased is not there. And what one of the guys was telling us is he's had an issue where, because those earlier, older games you bought via points, you then can't turn... Microsoft apparently don't appear to have an accurate download list of what you bought and sold. So, basically, you got emails saying you've bought the points to buy this game, but they didn't then say what game you were buying for those earlier games. So the stuff you bought via points, you may find you don't have a record of. So that's going to be something I will be raising very very shortly. And I can tell you that video I will be really pushing to get the word out on, because that is... But basically, one of the guys we've been speaking to, he's lost his Turtles Arcade game because of it. Basically, if you just go... But if you... I think I should actually restart this, so I've been trying to chat. Yeah, we will do more Saturn Hertz stuff. I will do a newer Saturn's comparison at some point. We are going to be doing a look at the PlayStation stuff as well, so we might do a bit then. What I'll do is a new video that we want to then say people view. If you view it, we'll do more, and we'll just see how the views go. Let's try again from the beginning. But yeah, the Microsoft issue and the store issue. There are a lot of... what I was going through the PS3 store is actually looking at all the problems. There are a lot of like download issues and all sorts. So I'll be basically showing them off in the next week. So in fact, even this week if I get it out. We're steadily growing, so we actually do get quite a lot of views, Charlies. It's more, we're not a huge channel, so... But we are growing, so we do get quite a lot of views these days. A lot more, because we're into the quite a few thousand views a day these days. So, but yeah, we're not sort of PewDiePie big, but I wouldn't expect that. I mean, it would be nice if we could hit 5,000 to 10,000 subscribers in a year or two, but I think that's going to be a way off yet. The problem is YouTube now is very difficult for smaller channels. We're growing, but I really would feel sorry for small channels starting out now. It's a real uphill battle on YouTube, especially with a lot of the changes now. And we also do have to deal with sort of legal issues as well, so we do have to be a bit mindful of what we put up and what we don't put up. There are a few games I would love to put videos up of, but certainly music games are just a no-no because of all the licensing involved. I'm just going to go off mic, guys, so I'll let you chat amongst yourselves while I... Because there's score attack. Okay, so that was the first stage done. Yeah, you actually have a fat PS3 test debug. Nice, you lucky. I nearly kept my one inadvertently, because if I had stayed with one of the companies I worked for, they would have gone bust when I had the test kit. Sadly, I left them, so I had to send the test kit back. But if they'd gone bust, I might have been able to have kept it. But they didn't. I sent it back. So, because those dev kit PS3s were beautiful, because they played, they were Region 3 basically for PS1, PS2 and PS3. They weren't 100% Region 3, but they were like 99.98% 3. There were a couple of games it depended how the developers had actually done the region lock on, which is an interesting fact. I don't think you could use external hard drives on stock consoles, because it was yeah, you can use external hard drives on normal Xboxes 360s, provided the firmware's updated to like the latest one. There was a feature added in for one of the later updates, a relatively latish one, so I think it's about 2009, 2010, around that time. Yeah, that should work. If it's up to date with the latest official firmware, it should work. Provided it likes the file format. I know there are a couple of different file formats. We actually have so to give you perspective, one of the guys actually has an 8 gig terabyte drive for his PS4, and that's still not enough. I think we've got a 2 terabyte drive for one of the 360s. No, 360 consoles I don't think have batteries in them. We've taken them apart before. And the other thing is they actually lose their clock if you unplug them for more than about an hour. So they don't save the time or anything. Oh, so score attack is literally just like a practice mode. So which ones can I practice on? There is a second loop in this as well. M1. 1M1, okay. So as you see, this is a really nice package with the various modes. So I'm going to be playing some of the early stages over again. I'll probably unlock some stuff as they go. I should say 8 terabytes is not enough for the PS4 either. That's what's alarming. So that is the problem with the PS5, with the fact it uses solid state drives. Solid state drives have two issues. One, they are very expensive and have limited space. Two, they are known to dying horribly. So although drives will often fail, solid states have a much more thing of failing more regularly because of how they are. Because if you're a professional like camera person or something, you can use solid state like card, you will just sometimes find they just die, because if you're using it all the time, eventually they run out. That's why I'm concerned about solid state drives for gaming, because solid state drives are going to be in constant use. So when you're constantly, making saves to the hard drive, because a lot of those solid state things have a set number of rewrites, and once it exceeds that, gone. Which is what is a lot of them are actually designed to fail. So that's what alarms me. So you have got arcade mode. I'll save. I'm actually going to do Overkill mode again. I'm going to concentrate on seeing if I can finish Overkill mode, unlock enough credits. I'll stick with normal difficulty. Yeah, I can't remember the limit for Xbox 360 and external hard drives. I think it's about 4, might be 2 terabytes or 2. I know PS4 is 8 terabytes is actually the limit. So I'm just going to concentrate on trying to blast through this as quickly as possible. So I'll just come off mic. By the way, Console Shock, have you seen the new Tony Hawk's mod, by the way? Because we want to cover that at some point. That's really interesting. The fact that literally allows you to turn any PS1 into a region-free console. And it actually forces NTSC games into 60 Hz as well, which is really interesting. And I should just say to everyone else joining the stream, I'm just going to go off mic for a second while I try and play these shooters because they are just require reskill. Thanks for everyone who's liking the stream. Appreciate it. Thanks for everyone coming on to viewing the stream. Glad to see you're all enjoying a bit of Raiden tonight. Very much appreciated. Glad to see you. My name's Random Gamer Riven. I'm the editor of Randomized Gaming. Appreciate the likes, and also if you like our content, please have a look through the channel. We have hundreds of playthroughs and everything, videos, tech history, just everything on the game channel. Please do have a look. If you like our content, please do consider subscribing. No, you don't need a certain memory card, but you do need, well, technically, you need a... Do you have a PlayStation 2 console, Shock? What you need is a PlayStation 2 and a 3 McBooty memory card. If you've got one of them, then you can literally transfer the file. Because 3 McBooty uses UELF, you can then use that to load a file via USB onto a standard PS1 memory card. You do need to do it via PlayStation 2. There is, however, as you mentioned, a new memory card which has like got an SD card on it, so you can transfer directly. But the current way to do it, as I did it, it's a little bit long-winded. You need a PlayStation 2 with a 3 McBooty memory card, or 3 McBooty installed on a memory card for the PS2, and then from there you can then use, because of 3 McBooty, you can then take files from a USB stick on PC onto PS2, and then you can transfer it onto a PS1 memory card inserted into a PS2. And it's really interesting because it does turn your PS1 into an unmodified, you can basically play any game pretty much from any region unmodified. It's a really interesting piece of software, and it runs NTSC games at 60 Hz on a PS1, which is quite interesting as well, and allows you to run homebrew software. So that's a really interesting bit of kit. I'll jump back into my playing standard now. I could just pause it there for a second. So I'll just see what you guys were saying. Oh yeah, I totally agree. Console shock. Some of the early sort of 360 games and all those brown visuals have aged badly. What were you saying, Charlie? Micro SD cards for storage of many retro machines and ODEs and. So our micro machines, they should be future-proof, but they will all have that. So any SSD is going to have an issue where if you writing to it a lot, there's a chance it will just die. But that's the same with any memory card going. But you need to write to it an awful lot. If you're using it for like storage, as long as you're not writing or using it too much, it should be fine because you'll get decades of use out of it. But I know they said there's been a few things that there have been. I have heard of a few tales of SSDs just dying completely, but nothing's totally future-proof yet. Any hardware you're using, even conventional dies, can just die horribly. So 60 Hz on a Power PS1 model. Yes, you can run 60 Hz on an unmodified Power PS1 model. It's not true 60 Hz, is like 59.30, so it's slightly behind, but yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. We don't know how long, so it'll be interesting to see how well SSDs hold up. Really, they've not really been checked that heavily. So as Console Shock says, he makes a very good point. What I will say is that we haven't really tested them. The PS5 will be the first major test of SSDs. Xervius 3D. Yeah, Xervius 3D is very good. I have actually got that one, and that does work at 60 hertz because I've actually tested that. Yeah, I think it remains. Really, SSDs are in the early stages, so it's going to be interesting to see how they actually go. So we'll see how they are in the future. I think it's basically a case of wait and see. Yeah, because the thing with what they don't say is a lot of them do a finite write, which is my concern. That's an issue I really don't like, but we'll wait and see. They may be fine. They may last decades. They may last 20 or so years, but I'm a bit mixed at the minute on the information front. I think it's a wait and see. We're just going to see. The PS5 will be a real test of SSDs. Okay, I'm going to go nip off mic again, so I'll let you guys chat amongst yourselves while I try and see if I can beat this boss without dying for once. Okay, thanks for joining Console Shock. Been great chatting to you. Been great. It's been a while since we've done a podcast together, but I do occasionally keep an eye on your podcast as well. So great chatting to you, Console Shock again. Good to see you back on the stream. Yeah, glad you're enjoying the stream. Glad you jumped on. Oh, did Arako jump off? Did I miss Arako jumping off? Apologies if I did. Yeah, my old fat Xbox 360 is still going strong. So, but yeah, if you haven't, guys, Charlie, Arako, Console Shock does some great podcasts. I have actually featured in a couple of them as well. So, do check out his channel. It's a great podcast channel. Do highly recommend it. Right, I'll jump back in. Okay, Night Against Console Shock. Thanks for joining the stream there. Okay, what was your question to me? Charlie, Ribbon, don't know if anyone's asked. But what's your all-time favourite genre? Mine is 2D fighters. Okay, So I would be brutally... If I'm being brutally honest, I probably wouldn't say I don't have a particularly favourite genre. I've always actually enjoyed playing a whole multitude of games across like 2D fighters, 3D fighters, RPGs, action, arcades. But if you were going to push me and say you must have one, I would probably move towards more RPGs being my favourite of all the genres, the one I enjoy the most. But I generally like to play games depending on my mood, so I don't always like to play RPGs back to back. I don't like to do arcade shooters. Sometimes it's nice to get really stuck into a good RPG. Other times it's nice to have a quick burst on an arcade game. Sometimes I'd like to a fighter on a brawl. Sometimes it's nice even to do... I mean, I do play Warframe, so that's my big online not MMO thing, but sort of online live game. I did used to enjoy in Destiny as well, but I did literally everything on the original Destiny. Not so keen on the second Destiny game, however. So the only genre I don't really like that much is some of the more recent live games, and if I'm being honest, I don't enjoy most of the sports games. I'm not a big fan of sports genres, period. There are a few sub-genres and bits and bobs, like card games I'm generally not a big fan of, but generally I'm actually pretty amenable to most games. Hence why one of the reasons why randomised gaming covers so much, because we generally like most things. And even we do cover sports games and anything, it's just not our top favourite genre. There's a difference between knowing when a game's good and when a game's bad, and when it's a case of when you don't like a game and when you do like it. So I can necessarily say I can tell when you're playing a good sports game even if I don't particularly enjoy playing it. No, sports games are just more a personal preference than anything. I think for me personally, the main reason I don't like them is my argument. Ideally, it'd be better off doing sports out for real rather than doing it virtually in a video game. But yeah, no, there are some great. I mean, Mario Golf's really good. I really enjoy Mario Tennis as well, and I also really enjoy Mario Strikers. We did cover that on one of the streams as well. So we do cover stuff. But it's not my favourite genre. There are a few other bits and bobs, but generally I don't have any huge disliking towards anything. I just generally like my games to be well made, so to speak. So this is not doing too badly. I think this run, let's see if I can actually get through the whole game. Admittedly, it's not a perfect run, but we'll see how far I get. Appreciate everyone joining the stream. Appreciate all the likes, everyone. Very much appreciate for everyone coming on stream as well. And thanks to my guys chatting away. Thanks to Console Shock. And I think, don't know if Arako is still here as well, but thanks to the guys who have it on stream. Thanks to Charlie as well. I can get why you don't like RTSs, but I really enjoy them. There are a couple of RTS ones where you can take direct control of units as well, which are quite good fun. But I can kind of understand what you're saying there, why not everyone likes every genre. I really enjoy RTSs. I must admit, I'm not a big fan of tower defense games either. There haven't been that many good ones. I think one of the best ones, probably one you might actually like, is one called Sanctum. But that's because it was a first-person shooter where you still had to place the stuff around, which was quite good fun. Or Sanctum 2 was actually very good. Okay, I'm definitely feeling my age creeping up on me with this shooters. I'll try the original raid. I've been using the original Raiden play, which plays slightly different. Yeah, that wasn't a great run. Interesting you say you like turn-based games, but you don't like RTSs. So I would say they're very similar. Admittedly, I enjoy both genres, so. But I can get what you mean about RTSs. The fact is, effectively, you send your troops off and then they just do your thing, and you can't really do much. And there is an element of randomness to it all, whereas with tactical games, you kind of know whether you're going to do well or not. Let's see what I've unlocked. I've not been doing too well again. I'm going to swap character. I'm not going to play as the fairy. I think that looks a bit silly. I think you're the last one chatting away, Charlie. I think Araka's gone as well. Thank you again for the kind donation. It is very much appreciated. At the minute, it's all going towards PSN games. I was going to show you at the end. I'll show you a quick glimmer of some of the PSN games we have on that I will recommend to people who don't have it. We did cover, I don't know if you played Dark Mist, we covered the Japanese version of that because that had additional content the other week. I highly recommend checking out that stream. Araka was on that stream as well with one of the other guys out on it as well. It was really enjoyable. But yeah, House of the Dead 3 and 4, as you mentioned, are very good. And House of the Dead 4 is, of course, PS4 exclusive. But there's also Mad Dog McCree 2 in the light gun games. You've got Fast Draw and Last Bounty Hunter. They're all the digital leisure arcade games. So I'm on 1 hour 41. I'll play for a bit long. I'll probably take the stream up to about 2 hours. I will admit, I can actually feel my age, and I'm probably slightly tired at the minute. So it's definitely I'm not doing my best, should we say. Okay, let's give this another shot. Let's freshen up. Ugh. You get the two types. The original Proton Laser was the homing one, but the homing one leaves a lot to be desired when it comes to targeting certain enemies, I will admit. Pause that there. Seeing as there's anyone left, I'll try and chat a bit while I'm shooting, so I do have to keep my focus. These games are... Okay, thank you again for your kind donation. I will thank you, Charlie Ward. Very much appreciated. Don't worry, I don't expect people to jump in every stream. It would be madness to expect. Everyone's got a real life, so it's just nice people jump in the streams when they can. Appreciate the donation very much. Your support is very much welcome. I hope you'll be enjoying the PSN content we'll be doing very shortly, so that more sort of old school stuff. I will be doing some gameplay videos, a lot of these ones, but I wanted to stream a few while we do it and do some gameplay stuff. I do need to get new hard drives, so that will be coming in the next week or two, so that I can actually capture some footage. As we're running a little bit low on space, but I do have a PSN video coming in the very near future, and I will actually get around to doing some more Saturn Hurt stuff at some point. But when I do, it's going to be I'll properly make I did record some stuff for Enemy Zero a while back and was going to do a quick video and just didn't get around to doing it. Yeah, I'm very honoured you suggest that. I kind of like Super Chat as it's basically up to people to donate, but I haven't actually looked at Steam Labs. We do have a Steam thing. I was going to set up a curator page, but it's been a bit of a time, stuff like that's a bit of a time sink, so I've just been spending it more on the content. I'm generally not a fan of sites like Patreon. I prefer people, if they want to donate, basically donate via something like Super Chat and just donate as and when, because I don't like to just, I don't want to be like some channels that just out and out saying, oh, donate to your patron, donate to us, da da da. That's not how we roll. I'd like to be able to make sure the channel can be self-sufficient, and we are steadily building up sort of advertising revenue, which is quite nice. I mean, it's not huge amounts, but it's enough. It's something. Steam lads, yeah, no, I get what you mean about Steam lads. I haven't actually looked at that on Steam. There are a few things we could look at doing. A few people, I'm sure some people would suggest Patreon, but I'm not a big fan of Patreon because I see Patreon, the term used sometimes called e-begging, and I do see Patreon a bit like e-begging, but and if people want to support us, then I think we'd definitely consider it at some point. But I kind of like stuff where it's just a one-off donation, not a sort of regular thing. Entirely up to the people if they're able to donate or not. If they want to just provide a little thing, and everything would be, and all the donation going towards PSN content, as I mentioned. Sorry, I have a feeling I might have had my mic off, Charlie. I was basically... I don't know if you heard me. That was my mistake. Thank you for your offer, but that isn't something we would consider at present. I very much appreciate it. I'm sure there'd be other YouTubers who would be very interested in doing a stream of that thing, and I'd be quite interested, but it's not with the current ongoing world events. I don't want things being sent to the post, especially not old hardware consoles. So, and I've got enough sort of sub projects we'd like to cover that I wouldn't want things sent to me. So thank you for your offer, but I'll graciously say no, although I'm sure you'd probably find other YouTubers would be interested in doing it. No, I thought I'd switched on the mic. I actually had it off for a second. But no, I mean, thanks for the offer. And it'd be interesting to see what they're like, especially the Satori. But we just don't have the coverage at the minute. But yeah, due to current ongoing world events, I have to be careful what I even say on YouTube, else it'll go a bit mental. Yeah, it's not something we'd feasibly like to do. But thank you for the offer. Very gracious of you. And hello, yeah, I know I appreciate you from the UK, but even putting it through the UK Postal Service can be a bit hit and miss. I have had a horror story experience in the past with the UK Postal Service. Hi X Gamer, thanks for joining the stream. Very much appreciate you joining in. We've actually had a lot of people on stream tonight. I thought this might get... I thought I'll do a shooter and I bet you I'll get loads of people in. Because some of the other more quirkier games, they've all been really good. I appreciate people haven't perhaps known about them as much, so don't tend to come on stream. Also, I don't expect everyone to be on every stream as well, because I know there's a lot of... Everyone's got their real lives and not everyone's going to be able to jump in as and when. But it's just nice people to be able to stream when they can. But I think I was going to say, what's you guys' favourite outing in the Raiden series, by the way? I think mine is definitely Raiden 2 with the intro, so that intro was always what sold it to me. And I always remember thinking, yeah, this was a Raiden 2. I think I was always quite fond in the arcades of. Okay, I've begun to get this. This one's got quite a repetitive and easy to follow pattern actually. So, a lot of the bosses in this are very predictable patterns, which is quite nice. Unlike some of the cave games, which have a lot more random patterns. Oh! I see. That one's just making me move slightly to the side. Oh, messed that up. Yeah, I have had some nightmare experiences in the... So I think I'm not... So Raiden 3 is the one on the PS2. It's alright. I would probably say this is better. Raiden 4 I think is probably the better game. For me, I think Raiden 2 is my favourite, and then Raiden DX. But I think I would say this is definitely probably the best, one of the best of them. Probably, Raiden 3 is good, but I don't think it's as good as this. So this is a better game. Raiden 5's enjoyable. It's got Raiden 5's got a lot of content, multiple endings, but Raiden 5 they added in some slightly annoying cutscenes. Admittedly, you can turn them off, but it's silly in a shooter when you have people talking over. Unless you have a really sort of dynamic story where the characters are actually appearing, sort of flying around like Raiden Silvergun did it. I don't think shooter stories work that well. To be fair, there's not really much you can say in the shooter. Oh, we're blowing stuff up. Unless you've actively got characters flying around and doing things in games, then having a story in shooters a bit difficult. So appreciate everyone on stream. Appreciate everyone hitting those like buttons. Very much appreciate everyone. Glad to see you're all enjoying my not great playing of Raiden 4. I think I can feel that it's not definitely A, out of practice, and B, I can definitely feel old age catching up a bit. Not that I'm that old, but you do lose that edge when you're a little bit older from when you're sort of in your young early 20s. I know in the late teens the professional game is basically the very best, and as you sort of peter out very quickly. So I think I could have been a professional gamer if they'd been around in the 1990s or late 90s, but no, the thought of just playing one game solidly for a year and a half for recreation is not my idea of fun. I did it professionally, having worked in the industry, but I wouldn't want to do it just for tournament. Oh, I'm one fairy short this time. You mentioned that earlier. Yeah, I've seen a few of them. It's interesting to note they're releasing Titan STV games. Who's publishing them out of interest? I haven't actually seen too much on them. But Guardian Force is very good. Cotton Boomerang's very good. I'm hopeful the release of some of them might slightly reduce the Saturn prices a little bit. Although we do have Guardian Force and Boomerang or Cotton Boomerang already, and they're very good games. Although Cotton 2 and Cotton Boomerang were a bit weird, because Cotton Boomerang's like a director's cut version of Cotton 2. Although some of the cotton, I'd really love to get panoramic cotton, but that is ridiculously expensive these days. But yes, if you do have a PlayStation 3, this is available now to buy in the store. I believe it's still available. I picked this up a few years back. I think I picked this up when it released, actually. This is one of those games that was literally a day one purchase for me. This was the boss I got totally destroyed at before. Can I do better? I need to keep my bombs up. I keep not using my bombs. I'm trying to be like trendy and not use my bombs and then just die horribly. But yeah, Death Smiles 1 and 2 looks very interesting. Well, Death Smiles 1 2, and I think the EX version of Death Smiles is coming out. And weirdly, they announced that, and then it's like, oh, it's coming out in December. It's like, okay, well, that means you've got 6 months to wait for ports of arcade games. The Capcom Stadia collection as well is really interesting. They just announced some more updates to that, so that's going to be interesting. That has got some very good, promising Capcom arcade games in it. Played which one, Charlie? I'm gonna ask you to clarify which game have I played. Oh, I've run out of credits again. God, I'm doing dreadful. The other thing I saw the other week, there is those one-up arcade cabinets, and I'm just like, ah. You can actually play some sort of modern games on retro systems. Credits increased by so yes, I am steadily accruing credits. So even if that's a nice thing about a good shooter. You will accrue credits over time, so even if you die, it enables you basically get better by two things. A, you get more credits so you can progress further, and B, you'll get used to the boss patterns, learn the attacks, and perform better. Although I'm not actually learning them particularly well. I think I feel the tiredness getting me, so I'm not really paying much attention to the bosses and the patterns. I should be, but I'm not. Shooters, I will admit, these harder shooters, you do need to have a very good memory, because you are going to literally have to map the whole game out in your memory. The bullet hell shooters stopped becoming sort of reaction tests and a more almost like a memory game. I think probably the best and the worst example of that is Icaragua, which is for me a disappointment compared to the original Treasure game, I will admit. Let's give the arcade mode one last shot. Take it easy. I can play through the light mode. The problem is I know the light mode will just be like, pow, I've done it. I thought, eh. Okay, let's see what my training's done. See how far I can get on 1 credit on arcade mode. I think the arcade scoring system is based on how quickly you kill the enemies from when they arrive on screen. So I think the longer I wait, the less. And that's what happens. Right, let's restart. I'm going to do a 1 credit run, so I'm going to restart. And I will jump in. Right, I'll go off mic and I'll concentrate fully and see how far I can get on 1 credit now. Yes, I did enjoy Under Defeat, just to answer your question. Although I don't think it's as good a game as Borders Down on the Dreamcast. But yeah, it's a very good game, Under Defeat. And I highly recommend it if you've got PS3 and Xbox 360. Or I'd recommend the PS3 and 360 ones over the Dreamcast version these days. But if you have got those consoles, do grab a copy. It's very good. Came with the soundtrack as well, the Under Defeat in the English release. Oh, that was a pretty rubbish one credit run. Let's try. I'm definitely feeling a bit tiredness now. Appreciate all the views. If you are enjoying the content, please do hit that like button. Very much appreciated. I'll just have a quick... That was not a great run in arcade mode. Riv. See what the options are again. Yeah, so you can change your bomb and livestock. I don't want to. I'm just going to stick with the. I could whack them. If I was going to do a long play, I might do. If I want to do a long play at present without having enough to remember all the bosses and stuff. I do like the music in the gallery. You see, I don't tend to use some of the emulators because often the slowdown is actually intentional in games and people don't realise that. Because people mistakenly don't realise that slowdowns are intentional. Yeah, that was the boss that got me, wasn't it? I do like that you can pick all the various bosses and stuff. Sub-bosses. Because often when it slows down, it's not always the case. Sometimes it is just bad programming or the hardware running out of RAM. But sometimes it's done deliberately to slow down the game to make it slightly easier on behalf of the player, or as a way to emphasise like an explosion to make something look really impressive. It's been a while since I played the Dreamcast, but I mean I probably prefer the 360 one, but yeah, I do occasionally play the Dreamcast one, but not that often. It has been probably a good couple of years since I last played it. I do prefer Border Down, and I do wish Border Down got a re-release. I don't know what G you're ever playing at, not reissuing Border Down. I really don't. Borders Down, that is by far their best game they ever made. Okay, you know what? I'm going to give a score attack on... So I said I'd go through and just mention a few of the PSN games. I will be doing a video on this in the next main weapon, sub-weapon. Oh, I see you can pick your main... Yeah, some of it's also designed for visual effect. Often the games will slow down when the bosses... die purely as like a superstitious, like a slow-mo takedown. It's often very deliberate as they want to slow down the explosion to show it to its full magnitude. Because at 60 Hz it's a quick, like when it's 60 frames a second it's warm really quick. So let's see, how well can I do a score attack on this stage? Oh, I've swapped weapon. Score attack interestingly uses the newer system. I think the closer you are, yeah, the more damage you do to it. Oh, I can feel myself getting a bit yawny tired, so I think I'm going to finish in a minute. So I hope you've all enjoyed this look at Raiden IV Overkill on the PlayStation 3. Wow, that's quite loud. The game... Well, I'm surprised how loud the game volume is in this. But yeah, I'll finish in a moment or two. Yeah, the music is really, the default volume is incredibly loud in some of these sections. They really want you to feel that music. Oh, very good. Yeah, I have totally the wrong weapon for this boss. Yeah, I don't blame you, Charlie. I'm going to actually finish myself now, so I've got to that point where I'm not going to progress much further without me spending a bit more time practicing, and I can feel this is one of those games that requires me being on peak performance. So just quickly before I go, I'll quickly show you guys on stream. So as I mentioned, this was one of the many PSN exclusive downloads that was going to be yanked from the basically they were going to take down the PS3 store. So the PS3 store is still about. Sony have retracted their closure of it. However, there is still a huge wealth of games available. I didn't actually show the intro in its entirety. Here's a nice little intro. But I'll just jump actually out. I'll click the intro. I'll save the full intro for when we do we'll do a gameplay video at some point of it. Oh. But here we go. Now I just want to show you point about. So I've actually picked up a few things since I've last been on. This is actually a demo Army Men. I haven't actually played that, but just to show you the sheer amount of great PS3 games that are digital only at the minute. So some of them work out. So that's a trial. I haven't actually played that yet. I don't know how good it is. High Velocity Bowling is one I picked up the other week. This is a Sony one. There is a complete bundle with the Move version. Make sure you get that bundle. It's £8, includes all the DLC. It's basically a Move bowling game. It's actually quite good fun. Not perfect, but solid enough. Includes some of the characters from some of the Sony formats. Cuboid is an interesting puzzle game, which is quite an interesting one where you're basically shape choosing. Again, this is a PS3 exclusive one on the console. This was a Sony developed one. So Aquapanic, this got released on Wii as a physical version, And this is basically a bit like Lemmings with fish, basically, for want of a better word. Not a bad game, actually. Sackboy Prehistoric Moves this was given away on some versions of Little Big Planet 2, but isn't available on the later extra editions release. Basically, it's like the move for Little Big Planet. It's quite a nice little download. Pixel Junk, they've done quite a few titles worth investigating. So, Tales from a Space About a Blob. I haven't actually picked this up yet. One of the team's going to. There's two of them. This one, I downloaded the demo of both just to check. This one is on 360 and has been released. This one was PS3 exclusive, the first one. So if you like sort of platform adventures worth a look at. Voltron Defender of the Future. Here's an interesting... Oh, no, I shouldn't actually listen to the sound of that, because that's... I need to move off that one quickly. That's an interesting one. That has actually been... we think that might have been... Oh, hi, Ariko. You're still here. We weren't sure if you're still here. So, Wicked Monster Blast we covered on stream. But that Voltron one, that's supposed to be delisted. Let's just say I picked that up the other week because there is an option where you can go... If I just nip through... if you have a trial, some of them you can purchase via this screen. And the purchase option still works even for some delisted games. So Wicked Monster Blast, that was one we showed a video of, a nice little shooter. Flight Control HD is one I picked up. This is based on an old iOS game. It's actually quite a nice little move thing. It's not a big game, it's just basically like, it's quite fun little flight control thing. So Critters Crunch is a really interesting sort of puzzle game that's quite nice, sort of old school. Now, below me is thingy, Supersonic Jet Powered Rocket Cars, although I'm not going to select it because I know that uses licensed music. Sound of Shapes and Counter Spy are both PS4 games, as is Hookums, Tiny Troops. You've got the other Pixel Junk stuff. Everybody's Golf World Tour. This is the complete bundle, but this is the first one on PS3, but that's since been delisted, so you have to get all the DLC via the complete bundle. Bombman Ultra is only available on PS3, although that's based on the 360. You've got games like Worms Crazy Golf, only the console versions on PS3. Lingering Shadows is a weird thing. So Elephant's another interesting one. Yeah, Elephant's an interesting puzzle game. Do you keep getting an error code every so often when you're trying to buy PS3 games? I saw when the announcement was made. Did you? Yeah, so there's a couple of errors. They seem to have fixed the download issue. You sometimes get an issue where it'll say an error has occurred when you try and buy something. That is basically... basically the store too busy to handle your transaction, from what I understand. Oh yeah, this is a free download, the Metal Gear Solid database, so... Snakeball was an interesting one as well. Super Rubber Dub we covered in the stream the other week. Blast Factor is an interesting shooter. I might actually stream that at some point. Nova Strike's a really interesting top-down shooter. Again, that's well worth a look at too. Hustle Kings I'm not going to select, but I showed that in the pin the other day. The reason being that's got like copyright music as well. When Vikings Attacks, another interesting quirky game. Not great, but interesting. Gravity Crash was one we covered. I haven't actually covered that, but that's one worth it. Crash Commando was one we covered the other day. Very interesting game. Nebulous Doki Doki Panic is an interesting one. Doki Doki Universe, I should say, not Panic. Puppeteer, I'm sure everyone knows about that. That's a really good retail Japanese game. The retail copies have shot up in value, sadly. Beat Sketches, an interesting little puzzle one. Fast Draw. We've got Motorstorm RC, Echochromes, Rain, Mad Dog 2, Skydiving, Pikio, Tamio, Like Kuroko, Numblast, Trash Panic. So everybody's golf, and there's just a whole variety. So Dead Space Extraction, although that was on disc. You've got Drakengard 3, Ragnar Odysseys. Battle Princess. I've picked up a few. Some of these ones are naffy ones. One of the guys has let me borrow on PSN. So, always some of these. Tekken Dark Resuscitation as well. Toy Home we covered in stream the other week was another interesting one. And then you've got things. Cell Damage, I don't think it's on too much of the HD version of that. Another World, which is available on most things. Bounty Hunter. Lemmings. Unfinished One. You've got a whole heap of games out there that is... yeah, I mentioned Super Rubber Dub was based on the Sega Flickies idea. I have no idea if it runs at 50 Hz. Motorsaw Master at 60 Hz. I'll have to check it out. But that's a selection of some of the stuff. As I mentioned, as I showed the stream the other week, we do have Speedball 2 Evolution on the mini side. Flying Hamster, which is also available on beta, is a wonderful game. You've also got... there's actually a mini version to Pikiyomo, although the PS3 version looks better, but they are literally the same game. One for PSP. Where's the other? Pinball Dreams, Pinball Fantasies as well. Some of the quirky things. Yeah, there's a few of them. If I just actually scroll down to the bottom, as I've mentioned, Virtual on Cyber Troopers, Super Stardust, Fat Princess. Oh yeah, Solna X, although that's just recently come out on PS4. Dead Nation was given away 3 actually of a lot of games. Castlevania Harmony of Despair is interesting. Some of the DLC is only available, or basically the PS3 version is the only one to include offline co-op. Eat Them's another quirky one. You've got this one's now been delisted, I think. The Alien Breed that I showed a little while back, which is the Amiga's port. Super Frog as well from Team 17, although this has now been delisted as well. There's the Pixel Junk games, although some of them are available. Rift Everyday Suitor, which wasn't bad. Spelunker HD is exclusive to PS3, although it's quite pricey with all the DLC. Horde's another Sony game. Ukabos and Sideways, although I think they might have both been delisted, but they might be able to grab them. And House of the Dead, Stranger's Wrath. There's the shooters I showed you earlier. Okay, right, that is it from me, guys. I am going to finish now. And now hope that Voltron doesn't crop up in a... at the end of the stream, else that's going to be fun. Half-Brick's indie game Echoes. I can't say, Charlie. I have at the minute. There's a few things, quite a lot of games I haven't played. So I'm going to finish there. Thank you very much. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Arik. Apologies, I'm a bit tired now. I can't pronounce it. Arika. Apologies for just mispronouncing your name. Thanks for joining me on stream, guys. Very much appreciated. So I said the PSN is still not going to close just yet, but definitely worth grabbing stuff while it is still out there. Or just a lot of the games have demos, so do download the demos and see what you think. There have been a few games I downloaded the demos and thought, no, this is not very good. I don't really want to grab it, but there have been some very interesting titles that I've discovered, and we've streamed quite a few over the past few weeks. I will be streaming something tomorrow again on the PS3. I'll probably pick one of those games I've just been scrolling through, bar Voltron, because I don't Voltron stuff. But yeah, cheers for joining the stream, Charlie, Arika. Thanks again to my good buddy at Console Shock Officials. Appreciate again. Thank you again for your kind donations, Charlie. It's very much appreciated. I'm going to finish this now, so I will thank you all for watching. I will wish you a good night, a good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. I will say again that Raiden IV Overkill is available on the PS3 PSN store at present. It's also available. You can download Raiden IV Overkill on PC as well, I understand. I think it's on Steam at present, and it was also released on Xbox 360, but it's only on Xbox 360 in North America and Japan, and the disc is region locked, sadly. Same with Raiden Fighters Aces, which I mentioned. One of those many games that I'd like to have seen come to Europe, never did, although it was teased many times. Okay, that's it from me. Have a good night, everyone. I will see you all in tomorrow's stream.